Hey YouTubers, thanks for coming back. Just wanted to spend a little time this evening talking about the Master Replicas Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber from A New Hope, their weathered version. I've just been working my way down through my collector's cases and hitting things as I go along, helmets, lightsabers, what have you. So out of my uh, two different Obi-Wan Kenobis, I decided to go with this one. Yeah, it's the first Kenobi saber in this, that you see in any of the Star Wars films from 1977, and it's the start of the basic design idea that Kenobi had continued to maintain throughout all of the films that he was in. And when I go and bring out my Episode 2 Kenobi saber at some point. Also, my Return of the Jedi Luke saber at some point. I'll address all of that, and I may even just put them all three together at some point so we can see that. But the history of the Jedi obviously is the Padawans build their lightsaber in honor of their master by creating their lightsaber to look somewhat like their original master's design. There's a little bit of that in the prequel design from Episode 1 and 2 Kenobi saber, even 3, I think. Not Episode 3, Episode 1 and 2. Kenobi saber does have elements of this kind of design that we see here in front of us, but it had more elements of Qui-Gon's saber design with the ribbed handle, pommel on it. Some of the accessories on, like the knurled buttons, and the general prequel look that they all had. But then once a Jedi becomes a master, they can create their own lightsaber in their own design. So the lightsaber that was seen in Episode 3, which I do not have one of those. I'm kind of iffy on them. The episode, I said that before, I think, in one of my other videos when I was just glancing over my collection. The Episode 3 Anakin, which is very similar, very basic similarity to the Luke Skywalker sabers, the Anakin-based design. But it's just something about the Episode 3 design just kind of got away from me. I just didn't quite like the changes they made to them. They were trying to make little differences along the way in the design of them, either, I don't know, just on purpose or what. But the Kenobi saber followed this design a little bit more closely, but again, the Episode 3 look, everything was just a little too shiny with little glossy metal things all over it, and I just didn't really like them. I mean, plus, obviously, if they're asking, they're collector's items, so they're asking a premium price, and I just didn't feel that those were worth my money at that point. I just didn't like them enough. Now, if I came across either one of them and they were cheap enough, and if I had the money or space, I might think about it. But my general, when I go looking on purpose, go looking for the Episode 3 versions of Kenobi and Anakin, nah, not happening. Just, I don't know, something about them. But if they were here, we could use them for this idea to show the evolutionary design. So suffice it to say, if you ever go look at the Episode 3 Kenobi saber, then you can see where this saber in front of us is coming from. The reason I picked this one also out of the two that I have to start with as far as Kenobi, even though chronologically comes after Episode 2, it's the first time we see Kenobi's saber at all from 1977. But, and I'm going to go ahead and take the glass cover off here, or the acrylic top. These Master Replicas cases, museum cases, are very, very nice. They had these really nice quality acrylic covers, a nice heavy wood base with a very nice black covering on them, and a mirrored base, and a see-through acrylic stands, and then a plaque that came separately, but it had a two-sided tape underneath of it. You can kind of just stick it down wherever you wanted it. Very nice display cases. I was very pleased with them. So I'll position this a little bit more closely here. So this saber, one of the other reasons is I just, along with my Darth Maul, and I had said this earlier, my Darth Maul saber is probably, because of what it is, just its design, one of my favorite sabers, alongside with this one. If this one, I think, is probably, I think I said my Darth Maul might be my favorite design. On a design level, I guess I could say if I wanted to kind of double down on that a bit. I mean, as far as its own design, I think I like the Darth Maul lightsaber the best. But as far as my lightsaber replicas that I have, and the design as well, but I think this Kenobi saber is my favorite physical lightsaber replica because it's, and again, it's so, it feels just so good, and it's nice and solid, and it's heavy, and it's got real metal parts everywhere. And this is a good thing about Master Replicas is they were really going to lengths to either just on their own duplicate what some of these parts look like, or they were able to find original parts and either replicate them by making castings of them, or they could get reference material if they knew what the part was and build it up from there. But either way, the pieces, as much as I'm aware of, were many on this one for some reason. It just a lot more pieces went into this design than the other original sabers for Luke and Vader. So it has a lot more interesting differences to it. As far as my memory on what the found parts were, and if anybody knows if I'm missing one and you know what the part is, definitely let me know in the comments. But starting with the pommel down here at the bottom, this, if I just pick it up and turn it around, was supposedly a knob on a sink, old British style bathroom sink. The turn on for the water, on and off, either hot or cold. I don't know if this cap was part of that or if that cap was put on for this. But the knob itself was supposedly sourced from that. This next piece here was a cog in a gear and a machine of some kind, and don't know what. If somebody, I may not have heard what it was from, but I don't remember. If you know what it was from, let me know. But it was definitely a machinery part, a gear, a piece of some kind. This little piece of metal here that's stuck in here that goes into here, I think that was made originally in the prop to just hold these two together. I think they just pinched a piece of metal. And you can see that it looks like they drilled a secondary hole. There might have been a hole here already from this center band. And they really went in and nailed that piece in and made it look like the original was. And I don't know if you can really see it on the film, even with the 4Ks. There's some good shots of it, but I'm just taking their word for it that it was there in the original one. And I can only assume it's meant as a last minute type of thing. That just if these two pieces were loose in some way, this may have just been something that they nailed in there to kind of keep these pieces together. This center piece here was a centerpiece from the normal Graflex flash handles that they were using to make the other two sabers with. So you had a very similar thing like with Luke's and Vader's saber. You have this centerpiece here with the bubble lens, and the original Graflex piece. This was a lockdown. This clamped the metal pieces together. For some reason or another, there's a nail here or a screw in there, and I think that might have been maybe the prop makers using that to maybe screw this down into something here to keep them from coming apart. I don't know the history. But so they utilized a little bit of this anyway, was using similar parts for the other two sabers to, I guess, have a common thread of the way the in-universe sabers were built, and they all had this same kind of bubble lens assembly, which I'm assuming was to maybe turn it on and adjust the blade length and turn it off or something like that. Kenobi's had additionally these two buttons here, which my research and over the years past had kind of revealed them to be two capacitors from an electronic device of some kind, whether it's a computer or something like that. But little capacitors, the caps on a capacitor or something like that. So what their function on the saber in the universe is supposed to be, I don't know. But again, this saber doesn't suffer from as much of what the other two do, in that the pieces that are on it really make it hard to handle it as if you were actually wielding it. But these, they if you were to grab it and to move it around, the best thing I feel is my finger would want to kind of wedge in there to hold on to it, but it's not really that practical. But hey, again, they were going for what they were going for when they made these things. The next thing up that I was looking at is this very obvious next component here. The actual handle grip, with the edges here, was an old World War I or World War II grenade casing, like a shrapnel grenade. So this up to here, this post, I believe, down to here was the original external casing for it, and it fit perfectly, and it looked, and it in its real design was meant to be able to grab onto it and hold it, and that's what the sectioned pieces are for. But in the prop world, it served its purpose on making the handle for the saber. Then we come up to this piece here, which it's got flanged slots in it, and I don't know exactly what it was from, but it looked like some kind of maybe weather vane type thing, or maybe even may have been some kind of fan that maybe I'll turn it this way, so I guess no, I can't quite get it in there. Some kind of fan thing that the air blew through something and turned this like some kind of turbine type of idea. Again, this is one of the pieces I'm most unsure of as far as what it is, but it's definitely got these little flanged slots as if air was supposed to go through and make it turn. So what it was doing, what it was turning, unknown at the moment. Then finally, this whole top assembly here was found out to be a burner nozzle from an oven, from a gas oven, and of course that centerpiece was capped off, and the original prop would have been actually the rod going through the entire saber for the entire saber itself. That was later rotoscoped, was connected with a rod that went through the whole way in, and then which is probably, may have been what this is now that I'm thinking about it, but on set, in order to achieve the look that they wanted, and you can still see it on the footage of the film, especially the 4Ks really reveal it. On set, they used electrical wire running into up Alec Guinness's sleeve, coming out of the sleeve into the saber, and charged it. And it was the rod was electrically charged, and it was spinning I guess they had a little motor in there or something. I don't know how they derived it, but it was spinning and covered with reflective tape. So on set, it was showing this reflective movement because they didn't really quite have the rotoscoping or whatever technology up to a point. And that was one of the old on-set ways of trying to make it look like it was there, but also to create spark and flash when the sabers would hit each other. So that was part of that. And so yeah, this was a burner valve on an oven. So I mean, a lot of pieces from things went into making just this saber. That alone to me was just mind-boggling that they went through as much as they did to get this thing together, and it really just, to me, out of all the sabers, just has the much more organic feel to it, and the design has some kind of ergonomic purpose, if you will, and of course back here the D-ring to hold on to their belt clip, which is an obvious addition, but what I do like about this, and I'll bring this in close so I can talk about it without having to hold it too much, and get a good macro on this. What I liked about Master Replica's approach to this is the weathering more than anything else. They did make this actually they made two versions of this, as a matter of fact. They made a as first built by is what they called it, and so it was pristine. Everything was painted properly and clean. There was no weathering on the finish. Everything was nice and shiny. All of this was a nice gloss black. This was all painted a nice gloss black. Everything clean. Everything up here was nice and shiny chrome metal. All of the inside connectors here were a nice shiny copper metal. I almost bought that. I already had this one, and when they released the As First Built By, I almost got it because I really love this design. But you know what? That never showed up on screen, not in Episode 4. If you want an As First Built By, you get the Episode 3 version, really. But they were just putting them out for collectors to buy more things. But it was cool. I almost got it. But anyway, what I liked about this version from Master Replicas was the weathering. I mean, Star Wars universe, man. Weathered, used. Kenobi out on the desert, getting things dirty and bumped up. You can see the little paint silvering around the rims to show that the paint's wearing off. The dirt and sand building up around the edges where his hand isn't constantly rubbing it off from holding it, and the rust, accumulating. That weathering is very nicely done, and the same thing with the handle. The paint worn off just slightly and showing a little silvering around the edges. But up here was really cool what they did, and a couple of actual little denting that they put in to show the thing was taking a beating, which they showed up here. They did a really good job of this. Let me try and get this up close, I guess. This area around the rim of the bottom of this flange is definitely randomly dented in. Actually dented in. I don't think it was molded that way. They probably took a little ball peen hammer and a spike and probably just kind of tapped them in, or however they did it. Now this, I think, it's metal too, so they may have done that as well. They wouldn't have actually tapped in plastic. But yeah, you can really see the weathering and the denting that they put into it, like up in here. Really, really nice. And then the weathering, the around the nozzle. Not too much denting or anything around here, but the coloring and the weathering. And again, I don't know if you'll hear this, but it's like real, cast metal. It's just, the whole thing is like that. The whole thing is just really heavy. I don't know what the weight exactly is, but it's a fantastic piece. And again, from all the reasons, physically in my collection, it's my favorite lightsaber. Just the look of it, the feel of it, the iconic status of it. being Kenobi's first saber. And just the weathering is just phenomenal. Yeah, nobody's touched this saber since. I don't think anybody's actually made. Well, I don't know. Maybe EFX did. I don't know if they did, but as far as I'm aware, nobody's made this saber yet, or made another one like it or close to it. And I'm hoping my pictures are doing it justice here, because it, in person, when you see it and you hold it, you understand how freaking cool it is. That would be, that would definitely be where I would put this. My favorite actual lightsaber design definitely is my Darth Maul. Out of all the lightsaber designs, just the invention of them, the way they are designed to look. I liked them all, of course, but it was the Darth Maul one was designed that way from the ground up. They didn't put it together from other parts of things that just happened to fit, like they did with Luke's and Vader's and this. And although they made them work for Luke's and Vader's, and they're very iconic, and I love them, the ones that I have, and I'll go over those other ones that I have in detail at some point as well. This one it all just came together, and like I said earlier, like an ergonomic, like organic way that to hold it, as if it was a real thing that you were fighting with. It made a lot more sense. It feels like it would be held the way you need to. And I'm obviously the run of them, the plaques that come with them. They give you out of the 2,500 that were made, what yours is. Now, obviously, I know that that's not actually the way they do that with these particular things. It's the plaque numbering, but it still adds to the value of what you have. Although I'm never going to get rid of this, it's just cool to just have some kind of marker. Although 1802 out of 2,500 is a pretty high run. So if it was like a helmet where that was where it would count, like a replica helmet made out of fiberglass or a mold that was being cast, where the more you use it, the weaker the mold gets and the softer the pull on the details gets. But with this, they just made them, and they actually just numbered the plaque. But for anybody who's interested, it's an 1802. My Darth Maul is a number 25 out of whatever 500, I think. But I did a video on that, so it's a pretty cool one. Or 2,500. I don't know, something like that. But so yeah, there it is. Just wanted to catch in a little under half-hour video today. I've tended to stray a little bit longer on some things, and point this one out. And if you ever get a chance to pick one up, I don't know what they're going for. I haven't looked for them. If anybody's selling them, I would. And if you're a fan of lightsabers and you don't have this one, absolutely get it. Just from the physical design aspect, the physical build aspect, I should say. If you don't find this one, get the As First Built By, which is still the Episode 4 design and not the goofy looking Episode 3, which I can't really speak too much because I haven't physically seen or held them in front of me. But just from what I've seen of them and what I know about how they're built, I'm not a fan of them. But it might change my mind if one was physically in front of me. But as far as I can tell, if it's not this one, the only other one I would probably know I'd go out of my way for to get, if I could find it, would be the As First Built. And it's a shame though that Master Replicas went the way they did, because they were at this time period when these were coming out, they were putting out some really, really killer pieces. And especially their lightsabers. Their lightsaber game was on, and their weapons, like they were putting out the blasters and thermal detonators, and they were coming up with really, really cool stuff. And it was really, they really were at that precipice of being able to kind of really, really come up with some cool stuff. And business goes the way it goes, and they lose the license, and EFX, being somewhat of an offshoot of Master Replicas anyway, which is why I kind of stuck with them on some of my stuff. Had the opportunity to really kind of keep going with this, and for whatever reason, they had shown some of these lightsabers at some of their earlier conventions, and which is like 8 years ago now, and nothing. I haven't seen anything with really of any significance. I mean, the only thing really that I know of that they've been selling was the cutaway Luke Return of the Jedi saber, which is cool, but I don't know. And the Rey Episode 9 double-bladed fold-up lightsaber monstrosity they're trying to sell for the crazy amount of money they're trying to sell it for, not interested, but that's just my opinion, so, take it or leave it. But hopefully, if there's a couple of other sabers that I did not get, that if I can either find, if I can't find reasonably priced sales online somewhere, I would hope that somebody with the franchise, like EFX, if they're able to do something about it, would be able to come by and fill some of these gaps. I mean, I'm looking for a Qui-Gon saber. I'm looking for an Episode 4 Vader. I'm looking for an Episode 1 Kenobi. What else would I kind of look for? I might be interested in a Dooku. I heard some problems about the Master Replicas Dooku, though, that the rubber handles or the gripping on them that was rubber was just held on by glue, and it was cheaply done, and the handles were falling off on people after a couple of years. And I just think that Master Replicas could have maybe come up with a better design than that if they're going to be making something that's supposed to stick around for a while. But a better designed Dooku I might be interested in. So I don't know if the planets align and EFX kind of does something with that. That'd make me happy. So anyway, but here's my Episode 4 Master Replicas Kenobi weathered saber, and hope you liked it. And we will see you next time. Like, subscribe, say happy things below. Always keep it civil. We'll talk to you later.